hell, you will see a room like this kitchen. There is a pot of delicious stew on the table with the most delicate aroma you can imagine. All around, people sit like us, only they are dying of starvation. They are gibbering and jabbering. He looked hard at Mrs. Parsons, but they cannot get a bit of this wonderful stew God has made for them. Now, why is that? Because they're choking for all eternity? Luann asked. Hell for Luann would naturally be a place filled with sharp objects and small round foods. No, he said. Good guess, but no. They are starving because they only have long spoons with very long handles. As long as that, he pointed to the mop, which I had forgotten to put away. With these ridiculous, terrible spoons, the people in hell can reach into the pot, but they cannot put the food in their mouths. Oh, how hungry they are. Oh, how they swear and curse each other, he said, looking again at Virgie. He was enjoying this. Now, he went on, you can go and visit heaven. What? You see a room just like the first one, the same table, the same pot of stew, the same spoons as long as a sponge mop. But these people are all happy and fat. Real fat, or do you just mean well-fed? Luann asked. Just well-fed. Perfectly, magnificently well-fed, and very happy. Why do you think? He pinched up a chunk of pineapple in his chopsticks, neat as you please, and reached all the way across the table to offer it to Turtle. She took it like a newborn bird. Caring for others is one of the earliest lessons my mother taught me. I remember as a young girl sitting in the car with my dad and siblings while my mom went in to see her visiting teaching ladies. My mom worked, which was the exception for our ward, so her monthly obligation to visit with the sister she was assigned usually happened the last evening of the month. Each time she promised to make it quick, and each time our wait felt interminable. One particular visit, I vividly remember memorizing all of the lyrics to the Paul McCartney and Stevie Wonder classic, Ebony and Ivory. She was in there that long. And although her return was often met with our groans and whining, I marveled at the way she glowed. My mom. She glowed when she finally came back to the car. She genuinely cared for the women that she met with. She shared their joys and their sorrows and was brightened through her connection with them. As a Unitarian Universalist, with love as our central value, caring is a core spiritual practice. Elizabeth McGuinn wrote in her article, In a Busy, Broken World, Communal Care Can Feel Overwhelming. We can change that. Featured in UU World in April 2024. As Unitarian Universalists, we put interdependence at the center of our lives. Interdependence means sometimes we need to be loved on, and sometimes we love on others. Sometimes we are leaned on, and sometimes we lean on others. Some call it communal care or just being human. It's how we show up and let others show up to express this truth. We do not go it alone, and we do not let our people go it alone. My recent New Year's mishap was an opportunity for me to learn the other side of caring and how to be a leaner. My life as a caregiver had left me ill-prepared to be a care receiver, and it was a different kind of stress to have to ask for help. I was moved by the numerous offers of support with rides and food that I received and could not have made it through those weeks without everyone's care. Special thanks to my girls, one of whom is here, for rallying around their broken mom. I was broken. They took care of even the needs I hadn't anticipated, and I still miss them tucking me in at night. And I'll go in bed and forget that I'm by myself and I have to get back up and turn the light off because I got really used to that. Thanks also to Tracy and Marilyn for lugging me in my knee scooter to church and our care team meetings. Because of their help, I was able to stay connected and participate in the activities that I love. I am truly grateful to be part of a caring community that offers opportunities to lean and love on each other. In tumultuous times when the world feels dark and isolated, We shine bright for each other when we connect through service. We feed each other with our long spoons, and we are perfectly, magnificently well fed and very happy. Blessed be.
Is our your offering response? We'll sing it first in unison, and then we'll sing it as a round.
A few weeks ago, something kind of wonderful happened. Between preparing for the upcoming church museum project and working with the care team and accidentally checking the news, I was having a rough day. But I wasn't alone because I had this church. And in my own distress, I had real, local, human connection. Because in the preparations and the meetings of the day, I was able to hug 3 different members of this community. And a hug might not sound like a lot, but when you need a hug, you know it can mean the world of difference because a hug lets you know in your body that you are not alone. And right now, our world is changing. It's changing faster than I think a lot of us expected. And people in our community are being affected. And it's challenging to hold all of the suffering that we see while preparing for a greater suffering that we suspect is likely to come. And it's incredibly overwhelming, especially if you feel alone. But here, we don't have to feel alone because we are a church and a community that has a lot of care to give. But at present, the care that we have lacks structure. Traditionally, a church's minister will organize and supervise the care in their organization, in their congregation, which for us is particularly challenging because this congregation does not have a settled minister. And I love Kristen. I appreciate the guidance that she has provided over the past year and a half. But the fact is, she lives out of state, meaning she is unable to be here with us to see the joys and sorrows of our congregation. She's not always here to give us a hug. She's also a part-time minister, and much of her ministerial work needs to be focused on other elements of her ministry, like administration, worship, and activism. And a little scary, but at the moment, it is not clear what will happen when her contract expires in June. But it does not seem like we are going to have a settled minister anytime soon. This uncertainty could be terrifying if we hold to traditional models of ministry, models where one person must be everything. A single individual must be priest and scholar, therapist, administrator, activist, and when the need calls, an electrician or a plumber. I skipped a page. So the old models embody the church in one person. And when that one person is missing, their absence is acutely felt. But we are Unitarian Universalists. Rejecting tradition is our most sacred tradition. We believe in innovation and adaptation, and importantly, in community. And I don't think the old model works. I don't think we can expect one person to hold the church together. How can one person do it all? But we have a chance to democratize care in our congregation by envisioning care as personal and congregational ministry. We can ask, what if ministry is the way that we share our spiritual gifts and encourage others to do the same? If that's true, then each of us here engage in ministry. And if that's true, we are a church of ministers. There's ministry in Dylan's leadership, guiding us through transition with vision and perseverance. There's ministry in Joseph's music, which creates a sacred space for joy and grief and wonder. Marilyn ministers to us every morning by showing up with a big smile, the first face anyone sees when they come here. And there's ministry in Lisa's hospitality by fostering connection over coffee and conversation, even with a broken foot, even when she has to co-lead a service. And beyond that, I see ministry in the friendship I see between each of you before and after services every time we meet. Ministry, our capacity to care, is already here, living and breathing among us. It is woven into the fabric of this congregation. We do not lack ministry. We have it in abundance. What we need is to organize it. It is for this reason we've envisioned the care team, so that we have a central place and a structure to connect those who need care with people in the congregation who have the gifts to meet that need. We're envisioning the care team as a central hub where we can reach out and share the care that we are individually excited to give. We can share opportunities for care in our community. We can reach out and advocate for the need that we see in our community. And we can reach out and express our own needs. Today is our first step on this journey, as we will ask you to help identifying the gifts that you have, the time and talents that you are able to share, so that when the need arises, you can share in the ministry of our church. Because our world is changing faster than we expected, and people in our community are already affected. But we are a church and we are a community with a lot of care to give.
Sometimes it's easier for us to imagine the care that we might give others, and it's more challenging to be the one feeling need. To be feeling need feels uncomfortable often. We've been taught to internalize a story that we shouldn't need to be vulnerable in that way, and we tend to hold independence and self-reliance as high ideals. Even as Unitarian Universalists, we still hold the idea of independence and self-reliance as a value. And it doesn't matter how many times I have preached on the interconnected web of existence and a belief in mutual care and love for one another. It doesn't matter how many times I preach that message. In practice, I too still feel uncomfortable to receive care. A few years ago, I had a surgery that made it hard for me to do much of anything by myself. Anything, including picking up my, at the time, 1-year-old baby. I couldn't even do that. And of course, my partner is wonderful, but we were full-time caregiving, full-time working, full-time parenting a baby, and we needed to ask for help. It became totally necessary to ask for help. And so for a month, we had a rotating group of family and friends stay at our home and sleep over at night. They would cook and clean and care for us for an entire month. This group of people would wake up in the morning and they would just notice what needed to be done and they would do it. And it was deeply humbling and embarrassing for me. And of course, they thought that was completely silly. They would wrap me up in love and hugs, and they would dismiss all of my sentiments of feeling vulnerable or like I could do it on my own, because we all knew I couldn't. And I think it's a common feeling. Maybe you've felt a similar humbling position like that, that even though we believe in mutual care and we would like to support anyone we know of who needs something, we are still enculturated in this self-reliance and this way that we believe that receiving care somehow feels embarrassing. I want our culture at this congregation to model normalizing giving and receiving support, where we imagine mutual support less as an when I'm in need sort of sentiment and just as a normal part of living together in the world, where every day we are giving and receiving, loving and being loved. It's not only in the times when there's some sort of catastrophe or you've had surgery and you can't pick up your own baby. We need to give and receive love and care and support of each other every single day as part of a normal way of being. So we're forming this care team here, as we've referenced. But what we're really doing is reminding each other of our care and of that everyday normalizing of this behavior, of it being totally normal to give and receive care. And we're creating, as Nitai said, a system that's going to help us structure and hold the ways that we give and receive care. But overall, the system is just a way of us normalizing the giving and receiving, of being human. And so we're creating these systems, we're creating this culture that supports giving care as a matter of course and receiving love as an of course. So you're going to start seeing several ways that we are going to be doing this giving and receiving. You'll find that there are new care request cards in the back of your seat pocket, in the back of the seat pocket right in front of you. You can see those today. You can check them out. They're going to be there every single week. And we have a temporary drop box, which I think Nitai is going to hold up and show you. This is temporary. We're feeling this out. We're figuring out what's going to work best for our congregation and our space. But for now, this temporary drop box is going to be left by the bulletin board that's in the hallway when you come in. The box will be there. And you can leave your cards. If you have a request for care, you can leave it inside that box and let us know that you're needing some sort of support. And we'll let you know when we figure out where the more permanent location is for this box. You can also place your cards. If you fill them out, you can place them in the offertory basket. Either place, they will go to the care team eventually. And you're also going to start finding links in the newsletter for requesting care. And you're going to find on your order of service, I think even today, that we have an email address. And if you send an email to that address, it goes directly to your care team. It'll be in the order of service every single Sunday, because we are going to start getting in the habit of asking for care and of receiving and giving care. The other thing that Nitai mentioned earlier is that we are going to, of course, be giving care to each other. And so right now we are going to, I'm looking at my other screen so I can see what's happening in the room. We are going to pass out cards to you. And these cards are going to be our expressions of love and support for one another. So as we pass out the cards, I invite every single person to take one. And we would love to know the ways that you feel excited to support other people in this community. And you won't have to be doing this every single week. It's not like we're going to call you all the time to ask you to give care, but it'll be an occasional opportunity to support one another. So as you get your cards, I invite you to fill those out. If you need a pen, I think Lisa and Nitai have some extra pens. I invite every single person to fill out a card. And if you need to leave those check marks blank for right now, or you write in a little note about how you might give care in the future, that's totally fine. But this is an invitation for you to think of the ways that you might like to give care in this community. So let's take some time right now and fill out the cards.
Some might not work. If they don't work, let us know. We'll switch them out.
As we complete the cards, I would like to return the attention to the front of the room as Kristen continues with a few more things we're doing with the cards.
All right, I need some hand waves if y'all can hear me since technology is weird. Okay, here we are. Okay, now that we've filled out the front page of this card and we've acknowledged that often we are better at giving care than receiving care, I want to ask you to do something else with this card. You've filled out the front. I want you to turn it over and trade cards with someone. Give your card to someone else and take somebody else's card. And no need to look at it. Just keep it turned over. So all you have is some new person's card and you're looking at just a blank card now. And hold that card in your hand. And if you are online, you're going to do this next part of the activity in the chat with each other. Okay, does everybody have a card? So what I want to invite you to do is hold this card in your hand or just think about a person who has asked for care. And I want you to imagine that this person has asked for support, but they are clearly feeling embarrassed or vulnerable or like they should be more self-reliant or any of those things that we feel sometimes. All of those embarrassing and humbling feelings that I felt when I had to have people come and live at my house and do all the stuff for me. And on the back of your card or in the chat, I want you to write a little note of care. This is not going to someone. It's not an actual note that's going to be given to anybody. What I want you to do is treat this like a prayer for all of the community of care that we are going to do for each other. And so maybe what you write on the back of this card or in the chat right now is the thing you need to hear in moments when you've experienced that feeling of humility or embarrassment. Or maybe it's what you would tell a loved one in that moment. Like maybe you're thinking of a friend that's expressing embarrassment and they're feeling needy or weak or something. And you're like, don't be silly. I love you. Of course I want to be there for you. That's the kind of thing that you're going to write on the back of the card or in the chat. Whatever your note of love and care is, whatever that note of reassurance is for anyone that would vulnerably ask for your care, I want you to express that love on the back of the card or in the chat so that we can remember that we are a community of giving and receiving and sharing love all the time. So offer your blessings, your prayers, your notes of love and care on the back of that card or in the chat.
Our weekly offering is an act of care and gratitude for this community, a community rooted in love, courage, and resilience. By sharing our time and treasure, we ensure that this place remains a source of support and hope, both within these walls and beyond. Each week, our offering helps us be the community that can best respond to the needs of these times. As we collect today's offering, let us remember our interconnectedness and interdependence. With hearts open and hands generous, may we offer our care and support to all those who journey alongside of us. As the basket comes around, please put your card, if you filled it out, along with anything else you would like to contribute this morning. I could have. Your abundant generosity is part of modeling care and love. Thank you.
Will you join me in a moment of meditation and prayer and reflection? Getting comfortable in your seats in whatever ways that you need today. Maybe you need to soften your body. Maybe you need to tense your body. Maybe you need to release some stress. I had someone tell me once to take my tongue off the roof of my mouth, and I didn't know I was doing that, and it helped to relax me. Whatever it is that you need this morning to feel centered and here and connected with all those other loved ones here in this space. In these days of uncertainty and fear, you are invited to lean back on the things that we know as humanity, to keep reminding ourselves of those things that you know inherently to be true, because there are lots of forces trying to make us forget about the things we know. And we know that there are communities of care that are holding us, and that we can strengthen that care and recognize that care and nurture the normalcy of vulnerability with each other. As we bolster our spirits to face another week of what's out beyond this 1 hour of respite, I want to invite you to think back on your past week and to bring forward in this moment your memories of a moment of joy that you had. A moment of joy. And if you remember that we've been talking about this month, that we are practicing finding joy as an act of rebellion, a strengthening of our resilience. So as you remember back to whatever moment of joy you can find from the last week, large or small, as you pull forward that memory, you are invited to hold it like it's a sacred tool of resistance. And I just want you to think about that joy. Remember that moment as vividly as possible. And then let that joy sit in your body for a little while and fill inside you. I want you to let that moment of joy remind your body of what it feels like to have joy, no matter how small. Because as you go throughout your week, I don't want anyone, no policy, no hatred, nothing, to be able to take that feeling of joy from you. So as you're sitting in this space, in your room, at home, or in the congregation, in the silence, I want you to feel what it feels like to imagine everyone, every person in this space with us today, filled with joy. Imagine that all the people near you or connected with you on the screen this morning are having their own little inner moment of joy. Just feel what it feels like. Feel that collective, joyful rebellion. And as we leave this space after today's service, I want you to let yourself feed off of the courage that comes from a people that know how to tap into joy like it's a superpower. And as we continue with our collective prayer this morning, I invite you to come forward with the prayers that you're holding on your heart this morning. And I invite you to light a candle or to drop a stone in our sacred gathering waters. Whatever the ritual is that feels best for you this morning, that's going to feel best for holding the prayers that are on your hearts, all those people and places and dreams and hopes that could use collective care. And if you are online with us this morning, I invite you to share any of the things that need to be shared in the chat so that we can all hold them in our collective care. You're invited to come forward now.
On March 9th, join us for a fun service led in person with our minister, Kristen. Immediately following the service, we will all move over to the building across the street for a special party and the launch of our short-term month-long museum, showcasing historical artifacts and fun surprises from our congregation's history. We'll have food, games, a photo booth, and other excitement for all ages. This will be a terrific gathering for our community and a journey into our congregation's past. Please plan to come to this awesome community gathering. Bring your friends, carpool with our other church members, bring your kids. You won't want to miss it. If you are someone who loves this congregation and has some stories to tell, we'd love for you to serve as a docent. Those are the people who will help give tours of the museum on March 9th. Get in touch with Mary Ann if you're excited to help in this way. We promise that it will be fun. We also have our RE class with Chalice afterwards. Normally we have our little coffee hour the third Sunday, and then I was sick last week, so we're having it today, which is perfect because we want to eat and learn at the same time. Anything else? We're good. I do have an announcement.
March 9th will be a busy day. We will also be having a Girl Scout cookie sale upstairs by the gym or where we normally have. So after you pursue and look through the museum, then you can come upstairs and buy whatever Girl Scout cookies you want.
It's so exciting. It's cookie season again. All right, as this service comes to a close, will you please join with me in saying our chalice extinguishing words or in your order of service? We extinguish this chalice, but not the warmth of love, the light of energy, or the energy of action. Oh.
Yeah, but this is the Mateo hymn, 10:30, and we will be singing the English text and marching, first marching, singing, dancing.
Go on your way this week, knowing that no matter what we encounter on this journey, we will keep each other perfectly, magnificently well fed and very happy. Go in love, and let's eat.